to another episode of the Music Discovery Series. I am so fired up today to introduce you guys to a band from Southern California called Differences. These dudes are putting out some insane stuff, and I can't wait for you guys to not only be able to hear some of the music today, but also get a chance to learn a little bit about the band. And Shanza, man, thank you for being here. I appreciate you.
Of course, man. Anytime, Brock. Happy to be here, dog.
Heck yeah, man. So I kind of want to kick it off just more so on a personal level before we jump into stuff about the band. I kind of want to hear from you because I feel like every kid that's in the scene has some moment, some kind of defining moment in their life that really that made them fall in love with the scene. What was that moment for you that really got you into metalcore or hardcore, whatever it was? What was it that really got you hooked?
There's a bunch of moments. I think, honestly, being a Southern California kid, my first real chain reaction show, I think that's what got me. Yeah, I think that's what I have for my lore and the band's lore, I have a really weird lore with shows and everything like that. Like, technically, my very first chain show I played when I was in high school.
Whoa.
But, my first, I got to go to a show was for Sleeping with Sirens, Abandon All Ships, Conditions, Early Secrets, and I forget, I think it's someone else, but that was my moments of
was it nuts?
Absolutely, to see YouTube videos, old 480p YouTube videos of bands playing, and be like, oh, that's cool, but going and seeing all the crowd surfing, just the nuts, jam-packed of it, I was like, yeah, this is home. This is where I want to be. Yeah.
That's so cool. It's only a Southern California thing that people can relate to is chain reaction, man. I will never forget walking into my first show at Chain and just feeling so insane. I was still fairly new to going to shows at that time. I was still in high school, and I remember walking in and just feeling so claustrophobic. I'm going to get wrecked in this place. It's insane.
It's the best feeling ever, man. It's just gross, closed room of sweat, and you just feel so alive. It's so good. That's definitely a feeling of, especially at this point for the band, we have a lot of friends out of town who come in, and we're playing with them at a Chain, and they're like, this is our first time playing Chain. And I'm like, really? Oh, it's cool. You forget that everywhere has its chain reaction, but that phrase happens because chain reaction is chain reaction. So that's so dope. Yeah. For me, that's a big part of me. Big part of me.
That's awesome, man. There's a venue actually that I think it's still open. It's in Bakersfield, California, and it's called Jerry's Pizza. Have you been there before? Have you heard of it?
I haven't been there. I've heard of it. Yeah, I've heard of it.
So you walk in, and on the same level as the street, it's just a pizza joint, and then you go down this staircase into the basement, and it is this.
Sick.
Dude, it's this 7 foot. It feels like it's 7 feet high. It's taller than that, obviously, but it feels like it's that small in there. And I'll never forget. I saw it was Casey Jones, the Warriors, and who was the headliner that night? I mean, maybe it was Casey Jones was the headliner, but it was the most violent setting environment I've ever been in. There was just so much, just insanity happening in this room at one time, and I'm 17 at the time, looking around this is what am I doing in this room? But this is the best. You get hooked to it, dude.
Yeah. You don't think, again, you watch those YouTube videos and you don't think it's real. You think it's it's just that one major band. It's that, until you're in it and you play in it and you're like, oh yeah, people go hard for this. This is amazing. It's it's a surreal feeling, man. For sure, surreal feeling.
Absolutely, man. So kind of, shying away from, the personal story now over to the band, I wanted to ask you, how did differences come to be?
Yeah, okay. So there's some lore there. The main thing would be from that same, as I said earlier, our very first show we played was Chain. I was played that in high school with a band with the same drummer for Differences now. After that, when we both left high school, and we started another project, and it was called The Difference at first. And so the lore, my favorite lore for the band itself, when we started this band, I went away to college. I was the guitar player, and Nick, the drummer for the band now, amazing vocalist. And so I was like, hey man, whatever we do, we have to put you up front so you can sing. That's what the band's going to be. We were a lot softer back then. So it's the fact that I went away to college. Nick was like, yo, hey, I booked us a show. I said, cool, Nick. With what members? And he was like, we'll figure it out, because it's just me on guitar and him singing. And he booked it at Chain. And I was like, okay, second time playing a show at Chain. Okay, cool. All right. That's dope for me, whatever. But we ain't got nobody. So we found a guitar player. Cool. We found a bass player. Cool. We couldn't find a drummer. And I'm away at college. He books this in like October, November, and we're trying to find members. We can't. By the time we get back, we're like, all right, well, you just have to play drums. We can find another guitarist, and we don't have a singer. So I was like, F it, I'll do it. I don't know. I'll get up there and sing some of the things and yell some of the things we had yelling. Never practiced screaming before, never practiced yelling before. I wish to this day I could find that footage of that first show. It's kind of buried. I got to find it somewhere. I sound awful, but everyone, I still to this day do, but everyone to this, I think what kept me there and the reason why I'm still here is because I seeing that scene, that packed room, people are going crazy. I just was like, I want to do that. I want to do that. So getting on stage, no idea what I'm doing. I'm just jumping around everywhere like a madman. And so people thought the set was good. I know I didn't sound great. People thought the set was good because I was jumping around.
They were entertained. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. That's all that. Oh, we'll get into that. That's all that matters. And so it's just the fact that I've been stuck in this position since. And to this day, I look at Gene, our guitar player, sometimes, and I'm like, that should have been me. I should have been I'm not envious. He's way better. He definitely deserves to be there. I'm not really envious. It's just more like, that should have been me. I should have been there. So differences got to start with me and Nicholas, the drummer, and then along the way we met Gene, and we've had members change in and out, and still family. Haven't had any really crazy like fights of people being like kicked out. Like it's been real cordial and nice. And now we're to the point now where we're at. We were mainly a 5-piece for a long time. We had a period where we were a 3-piece, where just me, Gene, and Nick. But now we're at a 4-piece with me, Gene, Nick, and our bass player Gizmo.
Awesome, man. And it sounds like you mentioned that the band's name used to be The Difference, and now it's Differences. Tell us, what does Differences mean, like as a band name? What's the reason for the name?
Ironically, we've kind of, when we first had The Difference, I can't tell you why we thought we know it just sounded cool at the time. But as we gone on around the time we changed we just dropped the because we're like, we're not post-hardcore like that. We're too just whatever. So just add it as typical band. Let's just drop the add
Make
it
it
as
plural.
Differences. Yeah, it becomes a thing of the irony in the name where it has a lot of different meanings. Like for instance, just taking a look at the band, there's a lot of different people and representation in the band, and that's a great unifier that like we bring all these different cultures and perspectives to the band. Our logo, it was Gene and a guitar player, Jordan Damasco, who thought of the drop. Our logo is a little water drop, and it's because one person, one drop sends a ripple effect, and it causes differences in the world. Whether that's a drop of water, whether it's a drop of poison, whether it's different things. Unfortunately, when we talk to people, we end up having to say, oh, because it's different, no pun intended. It's just kind of thing. So differences is about trying to be different and recognizing differences. That's the most straightforward way I can put it. There's 1,000 other meanings. I could think of 10 tomorrow and add them, but that's the main one I kind of try to stick to most of the time.
That's the beauty in a good band name, man. It leaves everybody wondering a little bit, a little curiosity. That's all that matters.
Yeah, man. But if it was this conversation wouldn't be as great. But it's the S. At the S, that's all it needs. That's all you need.
Well, I'm super stoked today to feature 2 of your guys' tracks. First one being your latest release, which is Chrome. Can you explain to us the meaning of this song?
Yeah, Chrome, I tried to be artsy with the lyrics, but it's still straightforward. Just the fact of being in this industry, I don't want to say it's hard, but it does get a little disheartening when you go, especially when the industry tells you there's a standard they want, and they will take your exterior, your skin, who you already are, and they will pretty you up by putting that layer of nice, shiny chrome. The only problem is they give that same layer to like everybody else, and we kind of become the same. It's pretty, but you see that same monotony over and over again. So Chrome is just about the fact of, going through the industry, writing your way. Of course, you follow some trends, but don't lose yourself in the process of this whole art journey, basically.
Heck yeah, and you can hear that in your guys' sound, man. You have like this LA hardcore, fast-paced tempo, which we'll talk about after we listen to this song.
For sure.
With this like metalcore, like scream, like it's just this perfect mesh.
Yeah, appreciate that. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm super excited for everybody to listen to this song. This is going to be Chrome by Differences. after listening to that, like I mentioned, you can really hear the high tempo. It's like just in your face, unique sounds that you typically hear from Los Angeles based bands. One that comes to mind for me right away when I heard that track was Fever 333, who are, just wild dudes. But who are some bands that you guys draw inspiration from?
Oh, man, shout out Fever for sure. For shout out Fever. That's so funny you say that because it's for us. I think a big three, especially in this point in our life, is Let Live, Being as an Ocean, and Pierce the Veil. Right now, we're all inspired by our different things, but as a collective, as we sit down together to write this stuff and get this down, that's what we come through the most. With that, a huge shout out to Gene. Like this, especially this wave, this last 2, 3 projects we had, like that's Gene really sitting down and just going crazy. It comes back into culture, which we talk about a lot. Like for us as a band, that's something we're very big on for the fact of two things. Like the same way my story of like Chain being that moment for me, Gene has that same thing. Nick has that same thing. Gizmo with his upbringing of this music scene, being like born and bred in it, like we had that feel for it. And so for Gene, is somebody who originally he was our bass player, and as we started to like kind of change directions, Gene was like, "No, I want to play guitar," and he'll tell you that he wasn't the best at it, but he was like he during the pandemic he really just locked in and just got crazy. After a few months, we finally met up and he was like, "These are all the riffs I wrote." And that's the feel we have today. Him being that, East LA, South, and me being like South Central LA, Nick, South Central LA type deal. We have that kind of feel that we're like, all right, SoCal bands in the scene, everybody has their sounds, East Coast, South, something like that. But for SoCal, we're like, we want to really put on with that LA rough metalcore. The hardcore scene, especially right now in LA, is nuts and they got it down. And we're just like, but we want to be more that metalcore sound. And how can we translate that, especially with some of these Latin vibes that we have with Gene being Salvadorian, So we try to really translate that and the streets we grew up in and how it felt into the music. So those three bands, Let Live, Being as an Ocean, Pierce the Veil, really help us kind of define, all right, this is what we're kind of going for and our inspirations so far with that.
Amazing, dude. And you mentioned it, the wave that you're on now. What's different from before to now? Like what's changed in the band? Or looking for a better way to share music with your friends? Boombox is the social platform built for music lovers. Post your favorite tracks, see what your friends are listening to, and discover new music with personalized discovery feed. Join communities, chat with fellow fans, and build a profile that shows off your unique taste. You've got fire music recs? Boombox makes sure people hear them. Download Boombox today and start sharing your vibe.
Yeah, for sure. I think I kind of have mentioned it, but coming out of that, post-hardcore era, we're old, dog. So, we've been around for a while. We were there in those 2010s, dog. So coming out of that post-hardcore era, where, you have your, I would say we had our Under Oath moment where, I'm screaming, Nick on the drums is singing, and kind of had that same kind of feel to now. I think the wave we are on is, especially when me and Gene first sat down after the pandemic and we started like writing stuff, we were just like, we felt more emotional before. Now we just want to be angrier. Like we want to fill our identities. We don't, even to the point of traditional songwriting. Like it's not so much that we will sit there and we'll write something and be like, "Oh, that sounds radio friendly. We don't want to do that. Let's do something different." It's just times where we write stuff and me and Gene will go back and forth about it, but there's times we write stuff that's just unorthodox and we might be like, but that doesn't really fit in this kind of, genre or this like that. But in the end, we're just kind of like, but do we like it? Do we think it represents us? And sometimes we're a weird bunch and we're like, yeah, let's go for it. It's our art. Let's be weird in it. Not everything has to be perfectly fine tuned to this is how songwriting goes. Like if this is what we want to do, that's what we want to do. So the wave we're on definitely would be angrier and straightforward. I'll say straightforward. That's kind of a weird artsy way of saying it, I guess.
Yeah, like a bit more, a bit direct. Cause I listened to some of the older music from the catalog, and I was like, there's something like there's a level of confidence in this music. When I'm listening, you can just tell like it's just that next tier, man. You can tell you guys have like committed to that sound almost, or to who you want to be. So that's awesome. I did want to mention too, I laughed that you brought up Under Oath. So when I asked you the question about like what was that defining moment for you that really got you hooked on the scene, it's funny. I started thinking about it for myself, and I'll never forget the first time I listened to their Only Chasing Safety album, and I remember being, I don't know if I was like, I don't know, 8th grade or whatever I was in.
Yeah.
or 7th grade maybe, and I was sitting in one of my homies' bedrooms, and he shows me this, gets out his Walkman and pops the CD in, and I remember putting, like, the headset that comes around my ears, and I popped it on, it's like a Sony whatever, and I remember listening to that first song, and I just my eyes lit up. I was like, "What is this?" I think the farthest I had gone as far as, like, screamo was, like, Childish at the time or whatever it was, but then
Yeah.
I remember hearing that They're Only Chasing Safety album, just eyes lit up, man. I was like, "This is insane, whatever this
Yeah.
is."
Yeah. I definitely feel that. Me, I'm somebody I'm like a late bloomer into metalcore for the most part. Like I had my touches with like Linkin Park and stuff like that in the early 2000s when I was like a kid and then becoming a teenager stuff like that. But all that underworld stuff, I didn't find it till like 2010, 9, 10. So same thing. Like for me, it was more like the friend tells me about it. I go on LimeWire and find it, and I'm just like, "What? This is the greatest thing I've ever heard." You know that type of deal. So I feel that. I definitely feel that. Worth the viruses on the family computer for sure. Worth all the viruses.
I gotta ask, how old are you?
Oh, I'm 31.
I'm 33, so I just wanna make sure
Oh,
we're
sick.
like so we're like on I was like, "We gotta be tracking on the
Yeah,
same."
yeah, 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 yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
we're
yeah.
talking about the same bands and shit that we gotta be we gotta be close at least,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, 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 yeah. No, we're young. We're young. I joke with the kids that I'm like I'm an aunt with all the new bands we play with, but nah, man, I'm young, dog. We're young. Not even close.
We're young in relation to life, but
Heck yeah.
in the scene, we're old.
Yeah, a little bit. Just
Nah,
because I never feel that way until I see some of these guys doing some stuff, and I'm like, all right, let me let Uncle, let me let Unc kind of guide you in the right direction, dog. That's why sometimes.
that's awesome. Um, one thing that really drew me to differences was your willingness to be outspoken about topics that most people don't want to talk about, including things like, drunk driving, sexual assault. Talk to us about that because it's kind of rare to hear that in music today. Only a few bands are really willing to write or sing, deep lyrics on heavy hitting topics. There's one I just keep going back to Southern California and Orange County, but Stick to Your Guns, a lot of their tracks, that song that I still listen to today, are talking about these topics. So I kind of wanted to hear from you just a little bit about why that is or what that is for you guys.
Yeah, I think a surface level answer for that would be in the name differences that we just want to be different. I know, without sounding what disrespect to anybody. I don't want to come off saying that like anybody's fake or anything like that. But because there's a place for everything. There are some bands who, uh, right now, especially in this time, you're finding a lot of people who straight up, I hear them talk about songwriting and they saying that like, well, if you're going to do more if it's more relatable. And people just want to hear about, their problems. And that tends to just be heartbreak or you stab me in the back, and then the beat goes crazy, the breakdown
Yeah,
goes crazy, and that's totally fine. There's a place for that. We don't hate that at all. But again, for the different thing, we just look at what's not being talked about and what do we really care about. The band itself, especially when we really started getting really, really deep into these topics in our music, we say it live all the time. We don't it's gonna come with the territory, but we don't wanna come off as like a preachy band of saying like, we're telling this because 'cause we're on a moral high ground and we're saying like, "No, we understand everybody's fall short, we fall short." These things though, we're very passionate about because of the industry and the way people abuse their positions. So it definitely comes from a place of we look at the higher ups and how they mistreat people in both music and government and everyday life. And we also look at our peers who, same thing, are in this position of us and misuse and abuse people. And so we have this moment, we recognize we have this moment that we feel like we put on a really good live show. We feel like we're entertaining. We give good energy. So it's the fact that like for those 20 to 40 minutes, however long our set is, if we're going to have a mic in our hand and you're forced to listen to what we have to say, we want to try to say something that's empowering or making you aware. And sometimes that's uncomfortable. And we understand that. Like we fully understand the topics we go on and we talk about and we yell about can be uncomfortable for some people. But at the same time, it's art does that. Art shouldn't always make you comfortable. Art is supposed to make you uncomfortable sometimes. And for the people that have gone through these things and don't have music to turn to, especially because they love music and they feel like they have no medium to turn to that understands them. We also want to just kind of be a beacon for people. We don't think that we can save everybody. We don't think we're anybody's savior at all, but we just want to at least show that we're there for people and we try our best to understand the situations people go through.
that's amazing, man. And I especially think it's important that I feel like in today's world, in an age of so much social media and everything, just being online everywhere all the time, I feel like it's created a tendency for people to not want to say what's on their mind or not speak up or just avoid hard topics or avoid tough conversations. It's becoming a habit for people because they can just go on their phone and escape the world for a minute, or whatever it is, and just almost to a point where people like can't even be by themselves anymore. Like they don't, they can't even sit with their own thoughts, these things. So basically what I'm getting at is that it's created this world or this environment where people are afraid to talk about hard stuff. And so I think it's really cool. And I do believe that you guys will attract a crowd that appreciates that. And that will translate into larger success because you guys are some of the few that are willing to do that. And again, honestly, sometimes people being made feel uncomfortable, it actually helps. Like it really does. Like it actually helps people somehow gravitate or like find an attraction to something because something made them feel uncomfortable. So I think that's incredible, man. And I want to tell you guys, right when I read it on your Spotify page, I was like, oh, dude, no matter what happens, I'm a fan. Like I'm in, dude. Like I'm all about these dudes. So I just wanted to give you guys some flowers for that, for real.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, dog. Yeah, I think just the final thing of like you're saying and how we talk about uncomfortable. The main point is as people, a lot of us deal with the it didn't happen to me, so it's not really happening. So we just we think it's important to talk about to be like, oh, maybe it is happening. Maybe I should care. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Of course, dude. Just like we've been talking about, you guys are incredibly unique. The next song we're going to feature today, though, is called Ninos, which is one of the most unique songs in your catalog by a long shot.
Yes,
Before we
sir.
play it, tell us how this song came to life.
This song came to life just straight up from again Gene. Any new song you hear is it's Gene. He's going crazy, and then
Shout out
he
Gene.
writes shout out Gene. I will never stop shout out Gene. He writes it, and then we're like, all right, let's try this and this and this. But it's one of those things of we had a bunch of these songs for that last EP we just did, and so the main thing he just sent me a text. He was like, "What do you think about this?" I was like, "This is so overboard." With the Spanish. I love it. We got to do it. The only thing that whether people will agree with or if they hate me for it, I'm okay. When we sat down in the studio, shout out to Austin Coop. That's my guy, the guy who we work with the studio a lot. We sat down in the studio to do this, and Gene had this as like a full 2-3 minute song. And I was like, I thought it was an intro. I only wrote for like an intro. And he was like, no, it's a whole song. And I was like, no, I think it's an intro. So whether people are like, if you're on the fence of like, oh no, it's a good intro, cool. If you're like, there could have been a longer version, I could have had more, and you're upset about that, blame me. That's me. He had more, but I was assuming this was an intro for the EP, and I won that argument. Just if you wanted more, blame me. I'm sorry. We'll have more like that in the future, but blame me.
Well, thank you for being willing to take the blame for that, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate you. I hope you guys enjoy this beautiful chaos. This is Ninos by Differences.
Si te vas, yo voy también.
one of my favorite things to talk about anytime I talk to a band is live music. It's just, I mean, as anybody in the scene knows, as you know, as everybody knows, being at a live show just cannot be beat. To feel that energy in the room. What's your guys' favorite part about playing live?
Boy. Oh, that's one of those where as I get up here, more lore about me, just for everybody. Brock, you're amazing. This is dope. I don't like interviews because I don't like being the face. I don't like speaking for the whole band. You do nothing wrong. Most interviews I do, they do nothing wrong. But me, this is definitely something that as a everybody has their own things. I think for me personally, and I'll try to speak for the band on this, is the fact that eh, we really take seriously that this is like art. Not saying that we're great genius artists, but we just take serious that this is art. So for us, the best part of playing live music is the fact that we get to live out our art every night and we just get to go as hard as possible because we never know when the next time we might play. Like you never know what might happen. So for us, I think it's just that sensation of us putting in all the time, all the effort, and then we get this moment to just go crazy with the song live. And then when the audience gets into it too, it's also that double feeling of like, to find people to vibe with in this moment, that's the best one for us. The fact that we just get to live out the art we made, that does it.
That's amazing, dude. And you can feel it when you watch your guys' some of your creative that you guys post. Some of the footage. I think is it a church or a school? I think it's a church.
It's a church. It's a church I work at. It's the another building that I work at.
So yeah,
Sneaking there.
what I was getting at was you can just like tell that you guys, I mean, you guys don't mess around. Like you guys are full blown, like you can just tell from watching that your guys' stage presence is going to be like next tier because you can just feel the energy through, even through a phone, man. I'm like, oh, these guys are just sucking people in. This is so cool.
Yeah, yeah, man. I think I one of my favorite things about shows is that fact of people that don't never heard of us before and they pull to a show to see us, stuff like that. Especially if we're opening or something like that, cool if we're starting late. But when they see a lot of us like stretching 15 minutes before, like one of my favorite feelings is like somebody I've never seen at a show before coming to see us that I don't know of, something like that. And the weird eye they get me when I have like earphones in and I'm like 20 minutes before the set, I'm like stretching hard and like jogging and like real. They're just kind of like, oh, because people see bands stretch before and they're like, he's going a little too hard. That I already have a sweat going. So by the time I get on stage, I've seen a lot of, one of my favorite things is the people that are coming up to me afterward being like, I understand the stretching. I'm like, yeah, because it's not, I'm not young anymore. If I don't do that, everything gonna hurt. So I gotta kind of, so it's, we don't play, man. We don't play. We gotta go hard. That's that let live in us.
Heck yeah, man. I actually went to Aftershock 2 weekends ago, wherever that was now, 2 weekends ago.
Heck yeah.
And
Oh,
I
dog.
woke up the next day, dude, and I'm like, what? I'm like, why does my neck hurt so bad? I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
That's that good 2010 bangover, bro. That's what that's those bangovers we used to get, dog. That's the bangover it's real. It's crazy.
Oh, I've never heard that before. I love that.
Yeah,
That's
man, that's
awesome,
great.
dude. What can people expect from differences in the future?
I'm also see, Brock, you're on it. I'm also the right person to ask because I'll just be like, we're doing this, and then next thing I know, I get the text from management being like, "What is wrong with you?"
Why would you say that?
Why would you say that? And I get yelled at, and then I go back and I just do it all over again. What can they expect? Big things coming soon. Big things coming soon.
Yeah.
Chat. I'm just kidding. I love those local band memes of like big things coming. Yeah. On a grounded sense, we just released Chrome last month, I believe. Yeah. So maybe new music coming sooner rather than later. And definitely we've been our content has really popped off well. We've gotten a lot of new fans on content stuff like that. And we're getting the come to Brazil, come to come to Detroit, like on all the random places. So we're mapping out some stuff. So I don't want to speak too soon, but some tours hopefully is what's coming soon. Possibly, we cannot confirm or deny, but it's coming to a city. Some new music and probably in a city near you. That's what's definitely coming in the future for differences.
That's what we like to hear right there. That's
Yes,
what we like
sir.
to hear. Well,
Yes, sir.
I can't wait to hopefully catch you guys in a city near me sometime soon, man. And I cannot wait to see just where you guys go from here. Like I said, man, you guys have an incredibly unique sound. You guys have
Appreciate it, man.
all of the factors working together in your favor, man. So I'm super excited to see where the next few months, the next year is going to take you guys. So Sean's, I just want to say thank you for doing this first off, and second to all the bandmates, thank you so much. And I appreciate you guys and so excited to feature you guys. If you're listening to this, please go shoot differences I think it's at Differences CA on Instagram.
Yeah, at Differences on all social media. Differences CA for like Differences California, basically.
Perfect. Go shoot the boys a follow. Go like them on Spotify. Go stream music. Go run it up. Whatever you guys can do to support, please do so. And I'm so excited for you guys, man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate it, Brock. Thank you so much for everything you do, and you are a cornerstone in our metal scenes like this. Keep going, dog. Great stuff. Really appreciate you, man.
Hey, that means so much to me, dude. I'm dead serious. That means the world to me, man. I appreciate you so much, for real.
Got you, dog.